Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of Sleepless History. Today, we embark on a journey across time, delving into the life of one of Japan's most powerful figures, the Shogun. Picture, if you will, the serene cherry blossoms drifting through the air, the distant sound of a bamboo flute, and the weighty responsibility of leadership resting upon the shoulders of a man clad in ornate armor. As we explore the life of a shogun, we can't help but appreciate the intricate tapestry of duty, honor, and yes, a sprinkle of humor that colored their existence. The word shogun itself means general, but in practice, it came to symbolize a ruler who wielded military power over the nation, often overshadowing the emperor, who was more of a figurehead by this time. Now let's set the stage. Our shogun wakes up in a grand castle, surrounded by the opulence of the samurai lifestyle. Imagine waking up every morning in a place that resembles a work of art, with sliding doors that open to picturesque gardens, koi ponds, and meticulously raked gravel. But before you get too envious, remember that with great power comes an equally great number of responsibilities. Politics was like a high-stakes game of chess. The shogun had to navigate alliances, betrayals, and the ever-watchful eyes of rival clans. Every decision could mean the difference between victory and defeat, or worse, losing one's head. Quite literally, as history has shown us. A shogun had to be a master strategist, always calculating the next move. However, let's inject a bit of humor into the narrative. Imagine the shogun returning home after a long day of political maneuvering and saying to his wife, "Honey, I've decided to increase taxes and suppress the rebellion." And she replies, "That's nice, dear. How about you increase my allowance instead?" Love life for a shogun was often steeped in political alliances as well. Marriages were rarely about romance. They were more like strategic partnerships. A shogun might find himself married to a woman from a powerful clan, not out of love, but to secure loyalty or land. However, that didn't mean their courtships were devoid of affection. Picture a shogun trying to woo his wife with beautiful poetry, only to realize he's inadvertently written a haiku about rice paddies instead of romance. Ripe grains in the field, love blooms like the cherry blossoms. It's a wonder he didn't end up sleeping on the tatami mat for that one. But let's not forget the shogun's private life. While he was a commander in public, often seen in fierce confrontations or strategizing with his council, behind closed doors, he might have indulged in leisurely pursuits. A shogun could engage in the arts, such as tea ceremonies, calligraphy, or even poetry. Imagine him hosting a tea ceremony, desperately trying to impress guests while juggling the responsibilities of a nation. Ah, yes, this tea is as smooth as my political maneuvers. Or is it? Also, there was the matter of personal hobbies. Many shoguns enjoyed the practice of archery or calligraphy, and some even dabbled in the arts. A shogun could be found painting landscapes or writing poetry, all while secretly hoping that no one would discover his less than stellar attempts at art. After all, no one wants to be remembered as the shogun who couldn't draw a straight line. Now, let's turn our attention to the shogun's court. Imagine a gathering of noblemen, all dressed in their finest kimonos, discussing the politics of the day. The tension in the room could be palpable, but it was also a place for wit and banter. "I hear the other clan is gaining support," one might say, only for another to chime in, "Ah, yes, but have you seen their new armor? They look more like peacocks than warriors." Indeed, the shogun's court was a place of both seriousness and levity. It was necessary to maintain appearances while also ensuring that camaraderie and friendship flourished among the ranks. The shogun needed allies, and sometimes a good laugh could break the ice. Of course, there were darker elements to the shogun's life. The constant threat of assassination loomed large. The infamous ninja, after all, were not just characters in movies. They were real forces that could disrupt the peace of a shogun's reign. Imagine a shogun trying to relax, only to hear a rustle in the garden. Is that a ninja? He might wonder. Or just a particularly stealthy raccoon? The shogun also had to contend with the expectations of his family and the clans that supported him. There were intricate protocols to follow, and any misstep could lead to a loss of face, or worse, rebellion. The pressure was immense, and one can only imagine the mental gymnastics required to keep everyone satisfied. As we explore further, let's not ignore the cultural aspect of a shogun's life. The shogunate was a time of significant cultural development in Japan. Many shoguns patronized the arts, leading to the flourishing of no and kabuki theater, as well as advancements in traditional crafts. A shogun might even host a performance, inviting the best actors, only to find himself inwardly cringing at the melodrama unfolding before him. Is this a play, or have I accidentally invited my rival's family for dinner? And let's not overlook the role of the shogun in warfare. The shogun was often required to lead troops into battle, displaying valor and strength. Picture this: a shogun, clad in armor, rallying his troops with a speech meant to inspire. Fight bravely, my warriors, for honor, for glory, and for the last piece of sushi back home. In the heat of battle, however, the shogun had to balance bravery with strategy. The battlefield was not just a test of physical prowess, but also one of swift thinking and adaptability. A miscalculation could lead to disaster. So, I should probably not have challenged the neighboring clan to a duel over who makes better miso soup. He might reflect afterward, shaking his head with a wry smile. As we delve deeper into the life of a shogun, we can't ignore the legacy they left behind. Each shogun, through their wars, marriages, and cultural contributions, shaped the history of Japan. Their lives were a blend of tragedy, comedy, and the heavy burden of leadership. In conclusion, the life of a shogun was multifaceted, a blend of power, duty, love, and the pursuit of cultural enrichment. They navigated a world filled with intrigue and humor, leaving behind tales that resonate through time. So the next time you think of a shogun, remember not just the sword and the armor, but the man behind the title, who juggled the weight of a nation with a touch of humor and a heart that beat for his people. Until next time, dear listeners, keep your curiosity alive and your history sleepless. As we continue our exploration of the intriguing life of a Japanese shogun, let's linger a moment longer on the personal relationships that colored his existence. Yes, the shogun was a figure of immense power, but he was also a man navigating the complex terrain of family dynamics and romantic entanglements. Imagine, if you will, the grand halls of a shogun's castle, filled with the laughter of children and the whispers of courtiers. The shogun often had multiple wives and concubines, a reflection of his status and the political alliances he forged. These relationships were not merely romantic, they were strategic. Each marriage could bring peace, resources, or military support from powerful clans. Yet within this strategic framework, there were occasional sparks of genuine affection. Picture the shogun trying to impress one of his wives with an elaborate dinner, only to have the meal accidentally set ablaze. Well, my dear, if this doesn't win your heart, at least it's a conversation starter, he might quip, while the servants rush in with buckets of water. Behind the closed doors of the shogun's quarters, the atmosphere could shift dramatically. The pressures of public life melted away, revealing a man who, despite his power, was still subject to the whims of family life. Children often played games, and the shogun could be found joining in, perhaps attempting to balance the precarious art of playing with his children while simultaneously maintaining his dignity. Yes, I can totally catch that ball, just as soon as I finish this important meeting. The love life of a shogun was often filled with intrigue and rivalry. The shogun's primary wife held the title of Empress Consort, a position of great importance, and naturally she wanted to ensure her offspring were the ones to inherit the shogunate. This led to a hierarchy among the women in the castle, with a certain level of competition brewing. Darling, I see you've brought me a lovely gift. How thoughtful. Now, if only you could remember my birthday, the Empress might say, her eyes glinting with playful rivalry. In such a charged environment, jealousy could simmer just beneath the surface. Picture the shogun attempting to maintain peace among his wives, perhaps declaring during dinner, "Tonight, we shall have a contest. The one who can make the best sushi will win my undying admiration." And just like that, the kitchen would erupt into chaos, the sound of laughter intermingled with spirited competition. But let's not forget about the politics shaping the shogun's world. The political landscape was a treacherous one, filled with shifting alliances and power struggles. The shogun had to maintain a delicate balance, often playing rival clans against each other. Imagine a shogun holding a council meeting, trying to keep a straight face while one of his advisors insists on discussing the merits of a recent rice harvest. Yes, yes, the rice is lovely, but what about the impending invasion? He might interject, hoping to steer the conversation back to more pressing matters. At times, diplomacy involved impressive displays of wealth and culture. A shogun could host grand banquets, showcasing not only his generosity but also his political savvy. As guests arrive, the shogun might say, "Welcome. Please enjoy the food, the entertainment, and of course my latest diplomatic strategies. Just don't ask about the last banquet. Let's just say the fish was fresher than expected." As the shogun navigated the complexities of governance, he would often rely on trusted advisors. These men were crucial in shaping policies and decisions, providing counsel that could make or break a reign. Picture the shogun sitting in his war room, surrounded by advisors, trying to keep a straight face as one of them suggests a ridiculous plan. "Perhaps we could challenge the enemy to a game of Go. I hear they're quite good." The shogun would have to respond delicately, perhaps saying, "Interesting idea, but I think I'd prefer a more traditional approach. Let's stick to swords and strategy for now." Despite the serious nature of political life, humor often found its way into the daily existence of the shogun. Consider the shogun's public appearances, where he had to project an image of strength and control. Yet, even in the most formal situations, the shogun could not escape the occasional mishap. Perhaps he tripped over his own robe while addressing a crowd, only to regain his composure and quip, "And that, my friends, is how we keep our enemies guessing." As we explore the shogun's private life further, we discover that leisure was just as important as duty. When not engaged in politics or warfare, a shogun would often retreat into the tranquility of nature. Picture him wandering through his gardens, contemplating life and strategy while sipping tea. He might even take a moment to reflect on the absurdity of it all. "Here I am, ruler of a vast land, yet I still can't figure out how to prune this bonsai correctly." The shogun's appreciation for art and culture also played a significant role in shaping his private life. Many shoguns were patrons of the arts, supporting musicians, poets, and artists. Imagine our shogun attending a poetry reading, nodding along as a poet recites verses about cherry blossoms. Ah, yes, nature's beauty is indeed profound. But could we perhaps get to the part where I get a shout-out for my latest military victory? One of the more humorous aspects of a shogun's life was the ever-looming presence of the samurai. These warriors were not just soldiers. They were a way of life. Picture the shogun trying to enjoy a quiet evening at home, only to be interrupted by a samurai bursting through the door, declaring, "My lord, we must discuss the strategy for the upcoming battle." "Can it wait? I'm in the middle of a very intense game of Go," the shogun might reply with a sigh, yearning for just a few moments of peace. Through all these interactions, it becomes clear that the life of a shogun was anything but dull. He was a man of contrasts, powerful yet vulnerable, serious yet capable of humor. The shogun's world was filled with complexities, yet it was also rich with laughter and camaraderie. As we draw our narrative to a close, let's reflect on the legacy of the shogun. They were not just rulers, they were individuals who shaped the course of history through their actions, decisions, and sometimes their hilarious missteps. In a way, the life of a shogun mirrors our own, filled with responsibilities, the pursuit of love, and the occasional humorous blunder. So the next time you think of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a man who navigated the intricate dance of life with all its ups and downs. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of a Japanese shogun. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and your sense of humor intact. As we continue to unpack the multifaceted life of a Japanese shogun, it's essential to delve deeper into the intricate web of relationships, the often tumultuous political landscape, and those moments of levity that punctuated an otherwise serious existence. Let's start with the shogun's familial obligations. The shogun was not merely a leader, he was also a husband and a father. In a society that valued lineage and succession, ensuring a worthy heir was of utmost importance. Imagine the shogun pacing the halls of his castle, his mind racing with thoughts of his children. If I can just get my eldest to stop trying to catch frogs in the koi pond, I might still have a chance of a peaceful evening. Raising children in such an environment was a balancing act. On one hand, the shogun needed to instill discipline and honor. On the other, he wanted to allow them to enjoy their childhood. Picture him attempting to teach his son the art of combat, only to find the child more interested in playing with his wooden sword like a toy. No, no, my boy. It's not a stick for poking at the cat. It's for defending the realm. The pressures of succession also created a competitive atmosphere among siblings. The shogun's children would often vie for their father's attention, each hoping to earn his favor. "Oh, look at me. I can ride a horse," one child might declare, only for another to respond, "Well, I can recite the entire history of our clan from memory." In such a competitive household, it was only natural for the shogun to inject a bit of humor into the mix. "Fantastic. How about a race? Whoever wins gets the last piece of cake." And just like that, the tension would dissipate, replaced by the sounds of laughter and playful rivalry. Moving on to the shogun's political life, we find a realm rife with intrigue. The shogun was often caught in a web of alliances, betrayals, and the constant need to prove his strength. One of the most amusing aspects of this political landscape was the art of negotiation. Picture our shogun seated at a table with rival clan leaders, all of them dressed in their finest kimonos. "Now, let's discuss the terms of peace," he might begin, only to be interrupted by a particularly boisterous leader who insists on starting with a toast. "Cheers to our great shogun. May his rice always be fluffy and his enemies always be foolish." The shogun, trying to maintain his composure, raises his cup and replies, "And may your sense of humor be as strong as your swords." These meetings were filled with a mix of tension and humor, as everyone tried to navigate the waters of diplomacy. Often, the shogun would employ humor as a tool to diffuse potentially explosive situations. "Ah, yes, a toast to peace. And if that fails, let's at least toast to a well-fed army." Of course, the shogun also had to deal with the pesky business of espionage. The presence of spies was a constant reality. Imagine a shogun pacing in his war room, discussing strategies with his advisors when a servant rushes in, breathless. "My lord, we have a spy in our midst." The shogun raises an eyebrow. "Surely they're not here for the tea? It's not that good." Moments like these added a layer of absurdity to the gravity of the situation. The shogun's ability to adapt was crucial in his political life. He had to be a master of persuasion, often moving between diplomacy and warfare with ease. Picture him addressing his troops before a battle, trying to rally them with a stirring speech. "Warriors, today we fight not just for land, but for the last piece of sushi in the castle." Such moments of levity helped to maintain morale, allowing the shogun to connect with his men on a deeper level. After all, it's hard to stay serious when the fate of the day rests on a sushi roll. In his private life, the shogun often found solace in the arts. As a patron of poetry and theater, he would spend evenings engrossed in performances, enjoying the beauty of language and expression. Picture him, at a no play, trying to maintain a straight face while two actors engage in an exaggerated duel. "I swear they're more graceful than my best samurai," he might chuckle to himself, as the audience gasps at the dramatic flair. Yet, even in the realm of the arts, there were moments of hilarity. Imagine the shogun hosting a poetry contest, eager to impress his esteemed guests with his own verses. "Roses are red, violets are blue, my sword is sharp, and my enemies are too." Would anyone dare to critique such a masterpiece? And who could forget the tea ceremonies? These events were not just about sipping tea, they were social gatherings steeped in ritual. The shogun, ever the host, might fumble with the delicate teacups. "Ah, yes, the art of tea. It's all about balance and not spilling it all over my fine silk kimono." His humor would often shine through in these moments, reminding everyone present that even the shogun was human, prone to the occasional blunder. Now, let's take a closer look at the shogun's relationships with his advisors. In a world filled with tension and uncertainty, advisors were not just voices of reason, they were also sources of comic relief. Picture a scene where the shogun is deep in thought, contemplating a military strategy when one advisor bursts in, breathless with excitement. "My lord, I've discovered the secret to the enemy's plans." The shogun, intrigued, leans in closer. Do tell, the advisor grins. They're all planning a picnic. I suggest we offer them extra rice and see if they'll stay there. Such interactions added a layer of humor to the often grim realities of war. The shogun, with his keen sense of humor, would appreciate the levity, even in the direst of circumstances. As we continue to explore the shogun's life, let's take a moment to reflect on the significance of festivals and celebrations. These events were vital to the social fabric of the shogunate, serving as opportunities to strengthen alliances and showcase wealth. Picture the shogun hosting a grand festival, with colorful lanterns adorning the streets and music filling the air. With vendors selling delicious street food, the shogun might find himself sneaking away from the formalities to indulge in a warm bowl of ramen. Ah, nothing like a little street food to remind me that I'm still just a man, he might say, savoring the flavors while trying to avoid being seen by his dignitaries. During these celebrations, the shogun would often engage in light-hearted competitions, such as archery or tug-of-war. Picture him trying to impress the crowd with his archery skills, only to miss the target completely and hit a nearby tree. "Well, at least I didn't shoot an innocent bystander," he would exclaim, laughing along with the crowd. Such moments of levity were essential in humanizing the shogun, allowing him to connect with his people on a more personal level. After all, it's hard to be feared when you're also the guy who can't hit a target to save his life. As we draw near to the end of our exploration, let's consider the legacy of the shogun. Each shogun left an indelible mark on Japanese history, shaping the course of the nation through their decisions, relationships, and yes, their moments of humor. They were not just rulers, they were men who navigated the complexities of life with a blend of power, responsibility, and lightheartedness. In conclusion, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family, politics, and humor. They faced challenges that would make anyone's head spin, yet they found ways to inject laughter and joy into their lives. So next time you think of a shogun, remember them not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who danced through life's challenges with wit and charm. Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through the life of a Japanese shogun. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and your laughter flowing. As we delve even deeper into the life of a Japanese shogun, we must explore not only the grand affairs of state, but also the everyday moments that colored his existence. Between the weight of governance, the intricacies of family life, and the demands of love, the shogun navigated a world filled with expectations and delights, often punctuated by humor. Let's return to the familial sphere, where raising children was both a joy and a challenge. The shogun's children were often under intense scrutiny, as their behavior could reflect on their father's competence as a ruler. Imagine the shogun on a day off, attempting to engage with his children in a family game of hide-and-seek in the sprawling gardens of the castle. "Okay, everyone, I'll count to 100. And remember, no hiding behind the statues of your great-grandfather," he might declare, only to find the kids giggling behind the very statues he warned them about. The challenge of maintaining a sense of authority while also being a loving father was not lost on him. Picture the shogun sternly reminding his children about the importance of honor, only to be interrupted by the youngest, who innocently asks, "But father, can honor also mean finishing all the sweets before dinner?" Such moments of innocence made the demands of leadership feel lighter, even if just for a heartbeat. The shogun often found himself chuckling at the absurdity of it all. After all, what could be more honorable than an empty plate? Romance in the life of a shogun was rarely straightforward. While marriages were often arranged for political alliances, there were also tales of unexpected love. Imagine the shogun meeting one of his future wives for the first time at a formal banquet. As they exchanged pleasantries, he might have said, "I hope you enjoy my cooking. Just don't ask for my secret recipe. I'm still trying to figure it out myself." Humor was often a tool for breaking the ice in such formal situations. The pressure to maintain appearances weighed heavily, and a well-timed joke could ease the tension. After all, who wouldn't appreciate a little levity amidst discussions of land and loyalty? As the shogun navigated the complexities of love, he he also had to contend with the inevitable rivalries that arose among his wives and concubines. Picture a scenario where two of his wives compete for his attention during a festival. "Look at my beautiful kimono," one might exclaim, twirling gracefully, while the other counters, "Ah, but can your kimono perform a tea ceremony?" In such moments, the shogun often found himself playing the role of a mediator, trying to keep the peace while also enjoying the spectacle of it all. "Let's settle this with a contest. Whoever can brew the best tea wins my undivided attention." In the political realm, the shogun faced challenges that required not only strength, but a keen wit. Political meetings were often filled with tension as rival clan leaders gathered to negotiate treaties. Imagine the shogun trying to assert his authority during a particularly tense discussion, only to be interrupted by an overly enthusiastic advisor who blurts out, "My lord, what if we just threw a huge party instead?" The shogun, caught off guard, might chuckle and reply, "And if that doesn't work, we can always serve them the fish from last week's banquet." Humor, even in the face of serious political matters, acted as a balm, fostering camaraderie amid rivalry. The shogun's private life also reflected the intricacies of Japanese culture. He was often expected to engage in traditional arts, such as calligraphy and poetry. Picture him seated at a low table, brush in hand, attempting to master the art of kanji, while his children scurry around him. "I'm pretty sure I just wrote sword instead of love. Maybe I should stick to drawing cats," he might muse, causing the children to erupt in giggles. Let's not forget the tea ceremonies, which were not just about sipping tea, but about showcasing the shogun's refinement and understanding of culture. Imagine the shogun inviting dignitaries to such an event, trying to impress them with his knowledge. "You see, the key to a perfect tea is a delicate balance, much like ruling a nation," he might say, only to spill tea all over the carefully arranged tatami mats. "Ah, well, at least my tea is now as strong as my resolve." The shogun also had a flair for dramatic storytelling. During quiet evenings, he would gather his family around to recount tales of valor and bravery from Japan's storied past. Picture him in the flickering candlelight, mimicking the gestures of great warriors. And then, the brave samurai leaped into battle, shouting, "For honor," he would declare, only to have one of his children burst in with, "And for dessert." Such moments highlighted the shogun's ability to connect with his family on a personal level, weaving humor into the fabric of their lives. As we explore the social landscape of the shogun's life, we cannot overlook the role of festivals and celebrations. These events were essential for both governance and community bonding. Imagine the shogun presiding over a grand festival, with lanterns illuminating the night sky and laughter filling the air. The shogun might seize the opportunity to showcase his leadership by participating in games. "I shall prove my worth by winning the tug-of-war," he might announce, only to find himself being pulled into the mud by enthusiastic villagers. "Well, I suppose I've officially lost my footing in more ways than one." Such events offered a chance for the shogun to connect with his people, showing them that he was not just a ruler, but also a man who could laugh at himself. Moreover, the shogun's relationship with his samurai was critical. These warriors served as the backbone of his power, but they were also his friends and confidants. Imagine a scene where the shogun is preparing for battle, trying to project confidence to his loyal samurai. "Remember, we fight for honor and glory, and if that fails, we'll just make sure to look fabulous doing it." The samurai, known for their stoic demeanor, might struggle to suppress laughter, appreciating the shogun's ability to lighten the mood even in dire situations. The shogun's approach to leadership was deeply influenced by the samurai code of honor, known as Bushido. However, this didn't mean he was devoid of humor. Picture a shogun leading a training session for his samurai, attempting to demonstrate the proper technique for drawing a sword. And remember, when you draw your sword, do it with grace. "Like this," he might say, only to fumble and accidentally drop it. "Ah, well, at least we know it's sharp." It is moments like these that allowed the shogun to forge strong bonds with his warriors, reminding them that even the most powerful leaders could make mistakes. Furthermore, the shogun's love for the arts translated into a genuine appreciation for craftsmanship. He often commissioned beautiful works, from intricate pottery to stunning textiles. Picture him admiring a newly crafted vase, then jokingly pondering, "If only my political alliances could be as solid as this pottery." Such humor underscored the shogun's understanding of the importance of art in society, reflecting not only beauty but also the intricacies of life itself. As we draw near to the end of our exploration of the shogun's life, we find that his existence was a rich blend of duty, family, politics, and humor. Each day brought new challenges, but the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. In conclusion, the life of a Japanese shogun was a tapestry woven with the threads of leadership, family dynamics, and the pursuit of cultural enrichment. Amidst the challenges of governance and personal relationships, the shogun's ability to find humor in life's absurdities allowed him to connect with his people and navigate the complexities of his role. So the next time you think of a shogun, remember him not just as a powerful figure, but as a man who, despite the weight of his responsibilities, could find joy, laughter, and connection in the everyday moments of life. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we delve further into the life of a Japanese shogun, we uncover the often unseen layers of this powerful figure's existence, revealing a world where duty and delight intersected. The life of a shogun was a balancing act, a dance of politics, family dynamics, and cultural pursuits, all sprinkled with moments of humor that made the weight of leadership just a bit lighter. Let's continue our journey in the realm of love. While the marriages of the shogun were typically arranged to secure political alliances, there were often whispers of romance that flourished in the shadows. Picture our shogun, caught between the expectations of duty and the fluttering of his heart. On one occasion, he might be gazing longingly at one of his wives during a formal banquet, only for her to catch him and tease. "What are you thinking, my lord? That I should serve the fish more elegantly?" Caught off guard, the shogun chuckles and replies, No, I was just pondering how to make this banquet less fishy." This playful banter not only lightened the mood, but also revealed the shogun's human side, reminding everyone that even the most powerful leaders had moments of levity. In the shogun's world, love often blossomed amid the rigid structures of court life. The shogun might find solace in the companionship of a favorite concubine, with whom he shared more than just political ties. Imagine him sneaking away from the formalities of court to enjoy a quiet moment in the gardens, perhaps whispering sweet nothings while surrounded by blooming cherry blossoms. "Ah, nothing like a little nature to remind me that I'm still a man, not just a ruler," he might say, as the gentle breeze stirs the petals around them. But let's not forget the intricacies of court life. The shogun often had to juggle the expectations of multiple wives and concubines, leading to a delicate dance of affection and rivalry. Picture him hosting a family dinner, trying to keep the peace as the wives subtly compete for his attention. "Tonight, I present to you my finest dish," one might declare, proudly presenting a beautifully arranged platter. "Ah, but can it outshine my dessert?" another retorts, brandishing a vibrant array of sweets. Amidst the competition, the shogun might intervene with a grin. "How about a competition? The winner gets to choose the next festival's theme." This playful twist on a typical dinner conversation not only eased the tension, but also encouraged creativity and camaraderie, all while keeping his wives engaged in wholesome rivalry. Turning our attention back to politics, the shogun's life was a constant whirlwind of meetings, alliances, and negotiations. He was often faced with the challenge of maintaining peace among rival clans, requiring not only strength, but also cunning. Imagine a council meeting where clan leaders gather to discuss matters of state. The air is thick with tension, and the shogun, trying to lighten the mood, begins with a jest. "Let's begin by discussing our shared love for sushi. After all, it's the only thing we can agree on." This simple comment, while humorous, served a dual purpose. It reminded everyone present of their common ground, and perhaps offered a moment of levity in an otherwise serious discussion. "And if we can't come to an agreement, I suggest we settle it over a sushi eating contest," he might add, prompting laughter and easing the tension in the room. The political landscape was not just a battlefield of swords and alliances. It was also a stage for theatrical displays. The shogun had to project strength and authority, but he also understood the importance of charm. Picture him addressing his troops before a battle, attempting to inspire them with a rousing speech. Today, we fight not just for land, but for the honor of our families. And should we win, I promise to personally ensure that our next banquet features more rice than you can eat. His ability to weave humor into his speeches not only motivated his warriors, but also fostered a sense of unity and camaraderie. After all, who wouldn't want to fight for a leader who promised an abundance of rice? In his private life, the shogun found solace in the arts, often engaging in poetry and calligraphy. These pursuits allowed him to express his feelings and reflect on the complexities of his role. Picture him seated at a low table, brush in hand, trying to compose a poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. Ruling a nation can be tough, but at least I have sushi too. This whimsical take on poetry not only showcased his artistic side, but also highlighted the importance of humor in the shogun's life. Even in moments of reflection, he could find ways to lighten the mood. The shogun also engaged in traditional Japanese games, such as Go, which required strategy and foresight. Imagine him challenging his advisors to a match, only to find himself losing spectacularly. It seems my military tactics do not translate to a board game. Perhaps I should stick to the battlefield. These lighthearted moments served to strengthen his relationships with his advisors, allowing them to bond over shared laughter and friendly competition. As we continue to explore the shogun's life, we must also acknowledge the role of festivals and celebrations in his world. These events were essential for maintaining social harmony and showcasing the shogun's power. Picture the shogun presiding over a grand festival, surrounded by vibrant decorations and the sounds of laughter. He might take the opportunity to showcase his leadership by participating in traditional games, declaring, "I shall demonstrate my prowess in archery. Prepare to be amazed," only to miss the target entirely and hit a nearby tree instead. "Well, it seems my aim is as good as my diplomacy," he would exclaim, eliciting laughter from the crowd and reminding everyone that even the shogun had his off days. These festivals also allowed the shogun to connect with his people on a more personal level. Imagine him wandering through the festivities, sampling various foods and engaging in conversations with the villagers. This dumpling is delightful. But tell me, how does it compare to the one we served last week? Such interactions not only endeared him to his subjects, but also allowed him to gauge the sentiments of the people he ruled. Now let's turn our attention to the shogun's relationship with his samurai. These warriors were not just soldiers. They were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's triumphs and tribulations. Picture the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, attempting to instill courage in their hearts. Remember, warriors, we fight not just for glory, but for the sushi that awaits us after. This light-hearted approach helped to foster a sense of camaraderie among the samurai, reminding them that even in the heat of battle, laughter could be a powerful weapon. Moreover, the shogun's leadership style often involved humor as a means of building rapport with his warriors. Imagine him leading a training session, trying to demonstrate the proper technique for drawing a sword. And remember, when unsheathing your sword, do it with grace. Like this, he might say, only to fumble and accidentally drop it. Well, at least I didn't drop my honor. Such moments of levity not only entertained his samurai, but also reinforced the idea that even the shogun was not infallible. In the world of the shogun, the importance of cultural pursuits cannot be overstated. He was often expected to engage in traditional arts, such as painting and calligraphy. Picture him attempting to paint a serene landscape, only to realize that his artistic skills were less than impressive. Is it a mountain or just a lopsided pile of rice? I can't quite tell, he might chuckle, acknowledging his shortcomings with a sense of humor. These artistic endeavors provided a welcome respite from the pressures of leadership, allowing the shogun to explore his creative side. Even in these pursuits, he found ways to inject humor, reminding himself and others that life should be enjoyed. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration, it becomes clear that the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, love, politics, and humor. Each day brought its challenges, but the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. In the end, the essence of the shogun's life lay in his ability to nurture relationships, navigate the complexities of governance, and find moments of joy and laughter amid the responsibilities he bore. The shogun was not merely a ruler, he was a man, striving to balance the demands of his role with the joys of life. So, as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him as a leader who could wield a sword with strength and a joke with equal finesse. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we continue our exploration of the life of a Japanese shogun, we can delve even deeper into the vibrant tapestry of his world, one filled with the complexities of governance, familial obligations, cultural pursuits, and those delightful moments of humor that lightened the burdens of power. To begin, let's take a closer look at the daily routine of a shogun. His mornings would often start early, with the rising sun casting a warm glow over the castle grounds. Picture him sipping warm tea, trying to gather his thoughts for the day ahead. Today's agenda includes meetings, battles, and, oh yes, my daughter's tea ceremony. Priorities, he might muse, shaking his head at the juggling act that was his life. These early hours were often a time of reflection, where the shogun would mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. However, even in this quiet moment, humor could find its way in. Imagine him realizing that he had mistakenly worn his sandals on the wrong feet. Well, if this isn't a sign of how my day is going to go, he chuckles to himself as he corrects his footwear. Once the day commenced, the shogun would be faced with a flurry of responsibilities. He would hold court, meeting with advisors, samurai, and dignitaries, each vying for his attention. His ability to navigate these interactions with a mix of authority and humor was crucial. Picture him in the grand hall, surrounded by nobles attempting to maintain order. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I can only listen to so many complaints about rice before I start questioning my own culinary skills. His light-hearted quip might draw laughter, easing the tension in the room. In the world of politics, the shogun was a master strategist. As he dealt with rival clans and their ambitious leaders, he often employed wit as a weapon. Imagine a tense negotiation where the leaders of opposing clans gather. The shogun, sensing the atmosphere thick with hostility, might interject, "Before we discuss our grievances, how about a round of sake? Nothing settles a score like a good drink." This tactic not only lightened the air but also reminded everyone present that beneath the armor and titles, they were all human. Over sake, disagreements could turn into discussions and perhaps even friendships. Now, let's shift our focus back to the shogun's family life. As previously mentioned, the shogun's marriages were often more about alliances than romance. However, that doesn't mean love didn't blossom in unexpected ways. Picture the shogun trying to woo one of his wives with a romantic gesture, perhaps presenting her with a beautifully arranged bouquet of flowers. "These are for you, my dear. I thought they might brighten your day," he says, only to have her reply, "How thoughtful. Now, if only you could brighten my kitchen by learning to cook." This playful back and forth showcased the dynamic within the shogunate's walls. Love often mingled with humor, softening the edges of political necessity. The shogun would find himself laughing, acknowledging that while he may wield power, he was still subject to the whims of his household. The shogun's children also played a significant role in his life. As a father, he was both a figure of authority and a source of joy. Imagine him attempting to teach his son the art of swordsmanship, only to have the child continuously trip over his own feet. "Remember, my boy, it's about finesse, not just flailing about like a fish out of water." With each stumble, laughter would fill the air, reminding the shogun that parenting was as much about patience as it was about discipline. The lessons he imparted were often punctuated with humor, creating cherished memories amid the rigors of training. In the realm of culture, the shogun was a strong patron of the arts. He appreciated poetry, theater, and music, often hosting gatherings where artists showcased their talents. Imagine him seated among the audience at a no performance, trying to maintain a serious demeanor, only to be distracted by an actor who dramatically overplays his role. "Is he fighting a ghost or just trying to swat a fly?" the shogun might whisper to his advisor, stifling a laugh. These gatherings allowed the shogun to relax, and he often found joy in the performances. Afterward, he might even attempt to write a poem inspired by the evening's events. The moon shines bright, the actors take flight, and I should probably stick to ruling, he would joke, penning verses that captured the spirit of the night. Let's not overlook the significance of festivals in the life of a shogun. These events were not only opportunities for the shogun to showcase his power, but also occasions for community bonding. Imagine him presiding over a grand festival, adorned in vibrant robes, greeting his subjects with a warm smile. Welcome, everyone. Today we celebrate not just our victories, but our ability to consume as much food as we can handle. His playful acknowledgement of the festival's feasting aspect would draw laughter from the crowd, reminding them that their leader was not just a figure of authority, but also a man who enjoyed the simple pleasures of life. During these festivals, the shogun often participated in traditional games, showcasing his skills and engaging with his subjects. Picture him attempting to throw a ceremonial ball during a game of kemari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling off in the wrong direction. "Ah, well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes," he would exclaim, eliciting chuckles from those around him. These moments of lightheartedness allowed the shogun to connect with his people, breaking down barriers and fostering a sense of community. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as a fellow participant in the joys of life. As the shogun returned to his daily responsibilities, the challenges of governance loomed large. He had to maintain order, manage resources, and ensure the welfare of his people. Yet, even amidst these pressures, he found ways to inject humor into his leadership style. Picture him addressing a gathering of samurai, trying to inspire them before a battle. "Today, we fight for honor and glory, and if we win, I promise to personally ensure that our next banquet is filled with the finest delicacies. Just no more of that questionable fish from last week." This blend of seriousness and humor not only motivated his warriors, but also reminded them that they fought not just for duty, but for a future filled with feasts and festivities. The shogun's ability to adapt was also crucial in his private life. He often adjusted his approach based on the dynamics within his household. Imagine him catching wind of a brewing rivalry between two of his wives. "Ah, I see we have a bit of a competition going on. How about we turn it into a friendly contest? Whoever can craft the best kimono wins my undivided attention." This playful suggestion would not only ease tensions, but also encourage creativity and camaraderie among the women in his life. The shogun understood that a little humor could go a long way in fostering harmony within the castle walls. As we explore the shogun's relationships with his advisors, we find that humor played a significant role in their interactions as well. These trusted individuals were essential to his governance, and they often engaged in witty banter. Imagine a council meeting where the shogun discusses military tactics, only to have one advisor interject with a joke about the enemy's armor. "My lord, I hear their helmets are so shiny they might blind our soldiers." The shogun, unable to contain his laughter, replies, "Then let's send them a mirror as a peace offering." A little self-reflection never hurt anyone. Such exchanges not only strengthened his rapport with his advisors, but also created an environment where creativity and humor could flourish. They were not just subordinates, they were companions in the art of governance. As our narrative continues, it's essential to recognize the shogun's legacy. His life was a complex interplay of power, love, politics, and humor. He was a man who understood that leadership was not just about wielding authority, but also about fostering connections and finding joy in the everyday moments. In conclusion, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with the threads of duty, family, politics, and humor. Each day brought its challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we continue to unravel the fascinating life of a Japanese shogun, we find ourselves in a world steeped in tradition, yet vibrant with personality. The life of a shogun was a grand tapestry woven with the threads of duty, family, politics, and, of course, humor. Let's dive deeper into the nuances of this remarkable existence. We can start by exploring the shogun's daily life. Rising with the sun, a shogun's morning routine was often a blend of preparation for the day's duties and moments of personal reflection. Picture him seated in his beautifully adorned chamber, sipping steaming tea as he gazes out at the serene gardens. Ah, peaceful mornings. Just me, my thoughts, and the occasional bird that thinks it's a samurai, he might chuckle, watching a particularly bold sparrow land near his garden's koi pond. Once the sun fully rose, the shogun would embark on a packed schedule filled with meetings, ceremonies, and military preparations. However, even amidst the chaos, he could find moments of levity. Imagine him in a council meeting, surrounded by stern-faced advisors and samurai. As someone presents a particularly convoluted plan involving various clans, the shogun might quip, "Well, this is as clear as a bowl of miso soup. Can we get a translator in here?" His humor served not just to lighten the mood, but also to foster camaraderie among his advisors, reminding them that despite the weight of their responsibilities, a good laugh could help ease the tension of their discussions. The shogun's political life was often a high-stakes game of chess, where every move could have significant repercussions. Rivalries among clans were common, and the shogun had to navigate these treacherous waters with skill. Imagine him at a treaty negotiation, where tensions are palpable and everyone is on edge. "Before we begin, let's agree on one thing," he might say. "We all know that my sushi is better than yours. So let's put that aside and discuss the real issues." This blend of humor and diplomacy exemplified the shogun's ability to wield power while also connecting with others on a human level. By disarming his opponents with laughter, he could often pave the way for more amicable discussions and negotiations. As we continue to explore the shogun's love life, we find a world filled with intrigue and complexity. His marriages, primarily arranged for political alliances, often contained the potential for genuine affection. Picture the shogun hosting a lavish banquet for his wives and concubines. He might stand up to toast, raising his cup high. "To my beautiful wives, may our alliances be as strong as the sake we're about to drink." However, the competitive nature of these relationships often led to humorous scenarios. Imagine one wife presenting a beautifully prepared dish to impress the shogun, only for the other to counter with a more extravagant platter. "My lord, I present to you the finest fish in the land," one exclaims, while the other adds, "But can it compare to my dessert? After all, a meal without dessert is like a day without laughter." In these moments, the shogun often found himself in the delightful position of playing peacemaker. Ladies, why not have a taste test? The winner gets to choose the next festival's theme. This not only diffused any tension, but also turned a potential rivalry into a fun competition, showcasing the shogun's knack for keeping harmony in his household. The shogun's relationship with his children was also an essential part of his life. As a father, he balanced authority with affection, often finding joy in their antics. Imagine him attempting to teach his son the art of archery. "Focus, my boy. Remember, it's about precision, not just strength," he might instruct, only to watch as the child accidentally fires an arrow straight into a nearby tree. "Well, at least we'll have some firewood for our next barbecue," he would laugh, his heart swelling with pride over the boy's enthusiasm, even if it was misguided. Humor was not just a tool for bonding. It was also a means of teaching valuable lessons. The shogun might gather his children for storytelling, recounting tales of bravery and honor. And the great samurai faced the dragon. But first, he made sure to bring enough rice for everyone, he would say, weaving in humor to make the stories more relatable. "You see, my children, it's essential to be prepared, especially when facing mythical beasts." The shogun's private life was also enriched by his appreciation for culture. He was a patron of the arts, often engaging in poetry, calligraphy, and traditional music. Picture him sitting at a low table, brush in hand, trying to compose a poem while his children play nearby. The cherry blossoms bloom, the samurai's sword gleams, and I really should have practiced my calligraphy more. He might chuckle as he realizes his characters resemble squiggly lines rather than actual words. These artistic pursuits provided the shogun with an outlet for expression, allowing him to explore the depths of his thoughts and feelings. Even in the world of art, he found ways to inject humor into his creations. Imagine him sharing a poem with his advisors. Roses are red, violets are blue, ruling a nation is tough, but at least I have sushi too. The laughter that followed reminded everyone that while the shogun held great power, he was also a man who embraced the joys and absurdities of life. In the realm of festivals and celebrations, the shogun often took center stage. These occasions not only showcased his authority, but also allowed him to connect with his people. Imagine the shogun presiding over a grand festival, adorned in his finest robes, greeting villagers with a smile. Welcome, everyone. Today, we celebrate our victories and our ability to eat far too much food. His playful acknowledgement of the festival's feasting aspect would elicit laughter from the crowd, reminding them that their leader was not just a figure of authority, but a man who enjoyed life's simple pleasures. During these festivities, the shogun often participated in traditional games, showcasing his skills while engaging with the community. Picture him attempting to toss a ceremonial ball during a game of kamari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling into the crowd. "Ah, well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes," he would exclaim, drawing laughter and applause from the villagers. These lighthearted moments allowed the shogun to connect with his subjects on a personal level, breaking down barriers and fostering a sense of unity. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as a fellow participant in the joys of life. The shogun's relationship with his samurai was also a vital aspect of his existence. These warriors were not just soldiers, they were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's triumphs and tribulations. Picture the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, attempting to inspire them with a rousing speech. Today, we fight not just for honor, but for the sushi that awaits us afterward. This blend of seriousness and humor not only motivated his warriors, but also reminded them that they fought not just for duty, but for the promise of a feast and celebration. As the shogun navigated the complexities of leadership, he also faced external threats. The looming presence of rival clans often created an atmosphere of tension and uncertainty. Imagine him gathering his advisors to discuss strategies for the upcoming conflict. Let's see. Should we send a diplomatic envoy or just invite them to a sushi dinner? I hear people are more likely to agree when they're well fed. This humorous approach served to ease the tension, allowing his advisors to think creatively while keeping spirits high. The shogun understood that laughter could be a powerful tool, even in the most challenging of situations. As our exploration of the shogun's life continues, it's essential to reflect on the legacy he left behind. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not just rulers, they were individuals navigating a complex world filled with challenges and joys. In conclusion, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day presented new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So, as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we continue to explore the fascinating life of a Japanese shogun, we dive deeper into the intricate tapestry of his responsibilities, relationships, and the humorous moments that punctuated his existence. The life of a shogun was a blend of tradition, power, and personal quirks, making it a uniquely rich narrative. Let's first examine the shogun's role as a father. The shogun was not just a ruler. He was also a parent tasked with preparing his children for the weighty legacy they would someday inherit. Picture him in the courtyard, surrounded by his children, trying to teach them the ways of the samurai. Now remember, my children, the way of the sword is about precision and honor. And if you happen to trip over your own feet, make sure to laugh about it. As his young son fumbles with a wooden sword, the shogun watches, trying to suppress a chuckle. "Ah, if only your sword skills were as sharp as your sense of humor," he might say, demonstrating the proper stance while the child struggles to hold the sword straight. These moments of levity were essential in forging bonds between the shogun and his children. He understood that while discipline was vital, laughter and joy were equally important in nurturing future's leaders. Imagine him telling bedtime stories, where each tale was infused with lessons about bravery, loyalty, and of course, a little bit of humor. And then the brave samurai faced the fiercest dragon, armed only with his wit and a very large piece of sushi. His children would giggle, recognizing their father's ability to turn even the most serious of tales into enjoyable stories filled with life lessons. Furthermore, the shogun's love life was often a complex web of political alliance and personal affection. While many marriages were arranged, that did not eliminate the potential for genuine feelings to develop. Picture the shogun attempting to woo one of his wives with a romantic dinner, only to find that the cook had accidentally prepared a dish that was far too spicy. "Ah, my dear, I thought I ordered the sweet rice, but it seems my taste buds are in for an adventure tonight." This unexpected twist would prompt laughter, as the shogun fanned his mouth, trying to cool the fire from the meal he hadn't anticipated. Well, if this doesn't show my commitment to spicing things up in our marriage, I don't know what will. His ability to find humor amid awkward situations allowed him to navigate the intricacies of his relationships with grace and charm. Imagine him attending court functions where the wives showcased their culinary skills, and he would always be the first to sample the dishes, offering playful critiques. "Delicious! This must be what heaven tastes like. But my dear, next time maybe a touch less ginger?" These moments not only showcased his playful nature, but also reinforced the bonds within the household, as laughter often filled the air during these gatherings. As we shift our focus back to politics, it's essential to recognize the shogun's role as a leader who had to maintain authority while also fostering relationships with rival clans. The political arena was often tense, filled with ambitious leaders seeking power. Imagine a council meeting where the shogun faces a particularly stubborn clan leader. Let's see, how do we resolve our differences? Perhaps over a nice bowl of ramen. His suggestion, while humorous, served to humanize the negotiation process. The shogun understood that showing a willingness to engage personally could break down barriers and lead to productive discussions. "And if that doesn't work, I'll just have to challenge you to a sushi-eating contest," he might add, his eyes sparkling with mischief. In the heat of political discourse, humor became a tool for diplomacy, allowing the shogun to diffuse tension and redirect the conversation toward common ground. Let's remember, we're all here to serve our people. And if we can do that over a meal, why not? The shogun's ability to blend humor with authority was instrumental in his leadership style. He recognized that laughter could disarm even the most hostile of opponents, creating an environment conducive to cooperation and unity. As we explore the shogun's private life further, we uncover his passion for the arts. A lover of poetry and traditional music, he often hosted gatherings where artists could showcase their talents. Picture him seated in a beautiful courtyard, surrounded by musicians and poets, listening intently as they perform. Oh, the beauty of this poem. But I must admit, I'm still working on my haiku skills. Perhaps I should stick to writing about rice. His self-deprecating humor endeared him to the artists, who appreciated his willingness to laugh at himself. The shogun often encouraged the creative spirit in his court, recognizing the importance of art in reflecting the soul of the nation. Let's celebrate creativity. And remember, if my poetry doesn't inspire you, at least it will make you laugh. In these gatherings, the shogun would often step into the spotlight, attempting to recite a poem of his own. Roses are red, violets are blue. Managing a shogunate is tough, but at least I still have sushi to chew, he might declare, prompting roars of laughter from the crowd. These moments not only showcased his artistic attempts, but also reflected his understanding of the power of humor to bring people together. Let's not overlook the significance of festivals in the shogun's life. These events were critical for social cohesion and political stability, providing opportunities for the shogun to connect with his subjects. Imagine the vibrant colors of a festival, with lanterns illuminating the night sky and laughter echoing through the streets. The shogun might stand before the crowd, adorned in his finest robes, declaring, "Welcome, everyone. Let's celebrate our victories and our ability to eat far too much food." His playful acknowledgement of the festivities would draw laughter from the crowd, reminding them that their leader was not just a figure of authority, but a man who enjoyed the joy of celebration. Festivals allowed the shogun to step away from the burdens of governance and engage with his people on a more personal level. During these lively celebrations, the shogun often participated in traditional games, showcasing his skills while engaging with the community. Picture him attempting to toss a ceremonial ball during a game of kamari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling off in the wrong direction. "Ah, well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes," he would exclaim, eliciting laughter and applause from the villagers. These light-hearted moments allowed the shogun to connect with his subjects, breaking down barriers and fostering a sense of unity. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as a fellow participant in the joys of life, someone who understood the importance of laughter and celebration. As we continue to reflect on the shogun's relationships with his samurai, we find that humor played a significant role in their interactions as well. These warriors were not just soldiers, they were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's triumphs and challenges. Imagine the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, attempting to inspire them with a stirring speech. "Today, we fight not just for honor, but for the sushi that awaits us afterward." This blend of seriousness and humor served to motivate his warriors, reminding them that they fought not just for duty, but for the promise of a feast and celebration. The shogun's ability to inject humor into their training sessions also fostered camaraderie. Picture him leading a training drill, trying to demonstrate the proper technique for drawing a sword. "And remember, when unsheathing your sword, do it with grace, like this," he might say, only to fumble and accidentally drop it. "Ah well, at least I didn't drop my honor." Such moments of levity allowed the samurai to connect with their leader on a personal level, reinforcing their loyalty while creating a more relaxed atmosphere for training. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration, it's essential to reflect on the legacy left behind by the shogun. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not just rulers. They were individuals navigating a complex world filled with challenges and joys. In summary, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry, woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day brought new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So, as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we delve even deeper into the life of a Japanese shogun, we uncover a world where power, responsibility, and humor intertwine in unexpected ways. The shogunate was not just a position of authority. It was a complex role that demanded a delicate balance between duty and personal life, often yielding moments of levity amid the serious undertakings of governance. Let's begin by exploring the shogun's daily life further. Each day was a whirlwind of responsibilities, but it often started with a routine that set the tone for the hours ahead. Imagine the shogun rising early in the morning, the soft glow of dawn illuminating his chamber. He might sip his tea while gazing out over the meticulously kept gardens, pondering the day's agenda. "Ah, another day of ruling. Let's hope I remember where I put my sword this time," he might chuckle to himself, recalling the time he'd mistakenly grabbed a wooden practice sword instead of his katana during a meeting with his advisors. Mornings were usually filled with formalities, but even in these structured environments, the shogun found opportunities for humor. As he entered the council chamber, he might greet his advisors with a playful quip. "Good morning, esteemed council. I trust none of you have plotted my demise overnight?" If so, I'd appreciate a heads up. Such comments would draw laughter from the room, lightening the atmosphere and allowing for more open communication. As the day unfolded, the shogun would be engaged in various meetings with samurai, clan leaders, and advisors, all of whom had their own interests and agendas. Picture him sitting at a grand table, surrounded by stern-faced nobles, discussing the intricacies of territory disputes. Now, if we could all agree that my sushi is superior to your sashimi, we might just find common ground, he would declare, prompting a ripple of laughter that broke the tension. Amidst the serious discussions of war and alliances, humor became a vital tool for the shogun. It helped to ease the tensions and create a more collegial environment. Let's make a pact, he might suggest. For every complaint you bring, you must also bring a joke. I'll start. Why did the samurai refuse to fight the vegetable? Because he couldn't find a good carrot. To the battle. These light-hearted exchanges transformed the council meetings from mere formalities into dynamic discussions, allowing the shogun to foster a sense of community among his advisors. Now let's shift our focus to the shogun's love life, where the intricacies of his marriages often blended politics with personal affection. As mentioned previously, many of his unions were arranged to secure alliances with powerful clans. However, that didn't mean that romance didn't find a way to blossom. Imagine the shogun hosting an elegant banquet for his wives, where the competition for his affection was palpable. During one such evening, the wives might present their culinary masterpieces. "Tonight, I have prepared the finest dish for my lord," one wife would proclaim, proudly displaying a beautifully arranged platter. The other would respond, "Oh, but can your dish compare to my dessert?" After all, a meal without dessert is like a day without laughter. The shogun, relishing the friendly rivalry, might intervene with a grin. "Ladies, why not have a taste test? Let the best chef win my undivided attention for the evening." This playful suggestion would not only ease any potential tension, but also turn the occasion into a delightful competition, showcasing the shogun's ability to manage his household dynamics with both authority and humor. In his interactions with his wives, the shogun often found that humor served as a bridge to foster connections. Picture him attempting to woo a favorite wife with a serenade, only to realize that his singing voice was less than stellar. "Well, I am certainly no musician, but my heart sings for you, even if my voice does not," he would say, prompting hearty laughter from her and the court. These moments of vulnerability not only endeared him to his wives, but also reminded them that behind the titles and responsibilities, he was still just a man. The shogun's children also played a significant role in his life, and his relationship with them was often marked by a mix of discipline and humor. As a father, he took his responsibilities seriously, but he also recognized the importance of laughter in their upbringing. Picture him watching his young daughter practice her calligraphy, struggling to hold the brush properly. "Ah, my darling, remember that precision is key, but if you write like that, you might become a poet of nonsense," he would tease, eliciting giggles from her. In moments like these, the shogun used humor not only to lighten the mood, but also to instill valuable lessons in his children. Bedtime stories became a cherished ritual, where he would weave tales of bravery and adventure. And then, the brave samurai faced the fiercest dragon, armed only with his wit and a large bowl of rice, he would declare, his children laughing at the unexpected twist. Even in serious matters, he found ways to connect with his children through humor, teaching them the complexities of leadership while also allowing them to enjoy their youth. Remember, my little ones, being a shogun is a serious business, but it's also about knowing when to laugh, especially when facing a dragon or a particularly tough piece of rice. As we navigate through the shogun's private life, we discover his appreciation for culture and the arts. He often hosted gatherings where poets and musicians showcased their talents, and he took great joy in participating. Imagine him seated among the audience, listening to a poignant poem, only to lean over to a nearby advisor and quip, "I must admit, my poems are more about rice than romance, though I do think I have a way with words." During these gatherings, the shogun often took a turn at reciting his own poetry, albeit with a humorous twist. "Roses are red, violets are blue, ruling a nation is tough. But at least I have sushi too, he might say, drawing laughter from the crowd and creating an atmosphere of camaraderie. In these moments, the shogun's ability to embrace humor showcased his understanding of the human experience. He recognized that laughter could bring people together, allowing for deeper connections among artists and nobles alike. As we explore the role of festivals in the shogun's life, we see how these events were not just opportunities for celebration, but also occasions for him to engage with his subjects. Picture the vibrant colors of the festival, lanterns illuminating the night and the sounds of laughter filling the air. The shogun, adorned in his finest robes, greets his people with a warm smile. Welcome, everyone. Today, we celebrate not just our victories, but our ability to eat way too much food. His playful acknowledgement of the festivities would elicit laughter from the crowd, reminding them that their leader was not just a figure of authority, but a man who enjoyed life's simple pleasures. Festivals allowed him to step away from the burdens of governance and connect with his people on a more personal level. During these lively celebrations, the shogun often participated in traditional games, showcasing his skills while engaging directly with the community. Picture him attempting to toss a ceremonial ball during a game of kamari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling off in the wrong direction. "Ah, well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes," he would exclaim, prompting laughter and applause from the villagers. These moments of levity allowed the shogun to connect with his subjects, breaking down barriers and fostering a sense of unity. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as a fellow participant in the joys of life, someone who understood the importance of laughter and celebration. As we reflect on the shogun's relationships with his samurai, it's clear that humor played a significant role in their interactions as well. These warriors were not just soldiers. They were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's triumphs and challenges. Imagine the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, attempting to inspire them with a rousing speech. "Today we fight not just for honor, but for the sushi that awaits us afterward." This blend of seriousness and humor served to motivate his warriors, reminding them that they fought not just for duty, but for the promise of a feast and celebration. The shogun's ability to inject humor into their training sessions fostered camaraderie as well. Picture him leading a training drill, trying to demonstrate the proper technique for drawing a sword. And remember, when unsheathing your sword, do it with grace. Like this, he might say, only to fumble and drop it. "Ah, well, at least I didn't drop my honor." Such moments of levity allowed the samurai to connect with their leader on a personal level, reinforcing their loyalty while creating a more relaxed atmosphere for training. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration, it's essential to reflect on the legacy left behind by the shogun. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not just rulers. They were individuals navigating a complex world filled with challenges and joys. In summary, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day brought new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we continue to explore the intricate life of a Japanese shogun, we delve into the unique blend of duties, relationships, and the subtle humor that characterized his existence. The life of a shogun was filled with responsibilities that shaped the nation, but it also included personal moments that defined his character. Let's dive deeper into this fascinating world. The daily routine, balancing power and levity. The shogun's day often began before the sun peeked over the horizon, a time typically reserved for personal reflection. Picture him seated in his elegantly adorned chamber, sipping tea while contemplating the weight of his decisions. "Let's see," he might muse. "Today's agenda includes meetings, possibly a battle, and, oh yes, my daughter's birthday party. Priorities, priorities." With a sense of humor to lighten the heavy load of leadership, the shogun would often find ways to inject levity into his daily routine. As he donned his ceremonial armor, he might glance in the mirror and joke, "If I look this good in battle, I might just scare my enemies away with my dazzling style." When he met with his advisors in the morning, the shogun had a knack for breaking the ice. "Welcome, my esteemed council. I hope none of you plotted my demise last night. If so, kindly wait until after breakfast." Such quips were not merely for entertainment. They fostered a sense of camaraderie and openness within the council, encouraging dialogue and collaboration. Politics, a game of strategy and wit. When it came to politics, the shogun's life was akin to a grand game of strategy. He had to navigate a treacherous landscape of alliances, rivalries, and shifting power dynamics. Imagine him in a council meeting, facing a particularly obstinate clan leader. "Before we begin our negotiations, let's agree on one thing," he might say with a twinkle in his eye. "I'll bring the sushi and you bring the sak. That way we can drown our disagreements in deliciousness." In moments of tension, he often relied on humor to ease the atmosphere. During a heated debate over territorial disputes, he could quip, "If we can't settle this peacefully, how about a game of Go? I promise not to use my shogun powers to win." This playful approach not only diffused hostility, but also reminded everyone that they were all part of the same community, ultimately working toward the same goal. As the shogun engaged with rival clans, he understood the power of personal relationships. Picture him hosting a banquet for dignitaries, where he could charm them with his wit. "Tonight, we feast not just to discuss treaties, but to settle old scores over who makes the best miso soup. Let the tasting begin." This blend of food, humor, and diplomacy helped cement alliances, allowing the shogun to strengthen his position while fostering goodwill among his peers. Love life, a dance of politics and affection. The shogun's love life was often a complex dance of political necessity and personal affection. While many of his marriages were arranged to secure alliances with powerful clans, that did not mean genuine feelings couldn't emerge. Imagine the shogun attending a formal dinner with his wives, where the competition for his affections was palpable. "Ladies, tonight I am the judge of your culinary skills. May the best dish win my heart, and perhaps a festival in your honor." Amidst the friendly rivalry, the shogun often found himself caught in humorous situations. Picture him attempting to compliment one wife's cooking. "This dish is delightful. Why, it's almost as good as the one I had last week. Oh wait, that was your sister's." The laughter that ensued was a testament to the warmth and affection that permeated his household. His ability to find humor in the complexities of his relationships endeared him to his wives. During quieter moments, he might try to woo his favorite wife with poetry. "Roses are red, violets are blue, my sword is sharp, but not as sharp as my love for you," he would declare, only to be met with playful eye rolls and laughter. "My lord, I believe your sword might need a little more practice than your poetry." Parenting, the joys and challenges. As a father, the shogun played a pivotal role in shaping the next generation. His children were not just heirs, they were the future of the shogunate. Picture him guiding his son through the art of swordsmanship. "Remember, son, the key is in the stance, and if you trip over your own feet, just make it look like part of the dance." In these moments, the shogun's humor served as a way to ease the pressures of expectation. When his daughter struggled with her calligraphy, he would gently tease, "Ah, my dear, if your writing were a samurai, it would surely be a wandering one." This ability to infuse humor into lessons helped his children understand the importance of perseverance while also allowing them to enjoy their youth. Bedtime stories became cherished rituals where the shogun recounted tales of bravery and adventure, often adding his own whimsical twists. And then, the brave samurai faced the fiercest dragon, armed only with a giant rice ball. His children would giggle, reveling in the absurdity of the tales while absorbing valuable lessons about courage and honor. Cultural pursuits, arts and humor. The shogun's appreciation for the arts was evident in his patronage of musicians, poets, and artists. He often hosted gatherings where these talented individuals could showcase their skills. Imagine him seated among an audience, listening intently to a poignant poem, before leaning over to a trusted advisor and saying, "I must admit, My poems are more about rice than romance, but at least I have a knack for humor. His participation in these cultural events allowed the shogun to further connect with his subjects. Picture him sharing a laugh with a poet after a particularly funny verse. If only my enemies knew that all they had to do to defeat me was challenge me to a poetry duel, he would declare, prompting laughter from everyone present. During these gatherings, the shogun often took the stage himself, attempting to recite a poem. Roses are red, violets are blue, ruling a nation is tough, but at least I have sushi too. The crowd would erupt in laughter, appreciating his willingness to poke fun at himself while celebrating the beauty of language and art. Festivals, celebrations of unity and joy. Festivals were integral to the shogun's life, providing opportunities for community bonding and celebration. Picture the vibrant colors of a festival, lanterns illuminating the night, and the sounds of laughter filling the air. The shogun, adorned in his finest attire, would greet his people with enthusiasm. Welcome, everyone. Today, we celebrate not just our victories, but our ability to eat far too much food. His playful acknowledgement of the festivities served to foster a sense of unity among his subjects. During these celebrations, the shogun often participated in traditional games, showcasing his skills while connecting with the community. Imagine him attempting to toss a ceremonial ball during a game of Kamari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling off in the wrong direction. Ah, well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes. The joy in these moments allowed the shogun to connect with his subjects on a personal level, breaking down barriers and showcasing his humanity. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as a fellow participant in the joys of life, someone who understood the importance of laughter and celebration. The samurai, loyalty, honor, and humor. The relationship between the shogun and his samurai was pivotal to his reign. These warriors were not merely soldiers, they were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's victories and challenges. Imagine the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, attempting to inspire them with a rousing speech. Today, we fight not just for honor, but for the sushi that awaits us afterward. This blend of seriousness and humor served to motivate his warriors, reminding them that they fought not just for duty, but for the promise of a feast afterward. The shogun's ability to inject humor into their training sessions also fostered camaraderie. Picture him leading a training drill, demonstrating the proper technique for drawing a sword. And remember, when unsheathing your sword, do it with grace. Like this, he might say, only to fumble and accidentally drop it. Ah well, at least I didn't drop my honor. Such moments of levity allowed the samurai to connect with their leader on a personal level, reinforcing their loyalty while creating a more relaxed atmosphere for training. The weight of leadership. Finding humor in challenges. Yet, the life of a shogun was not without its challenges. The constant threat of rebellion loomed large, and the political landscape was often fraught with danger. Imagine the shogun in a war room, strategizing with his advisors. We need a plan to quell the unrest among the clans. How about we invite them all to a sushi feast? If that doesn't work, we can at least feed them well. His ability to find humor in difficult situations served as a coping mechanism, allowing him to maintain his composure amid the pressures of leadership. The shogun understood that laughter could disarm even the most hostile adversaries, creating an environment conducive to dialogue and resolution. In moments of personal reflection, he often pondered the weight of his responsibilities. Being a shogun is like balancing a rice bowl on your head while riding a horse. One misstep, and you're in trouble. He would joke with his closest advisors, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, humor could provide a moment of respite. Legacy, a life of duty and joy. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration, it's essential to reflect on the legacy left behind by the shogun. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not just rulers, they were individuals navigating a complex world filled with challenges and joys. In summary, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day brought new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So, as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we continue our exploration of the life of a Japanese shogun, we dive deeper into the intricate weave of his day-to-day experiences, the relationships he nurtured, and the humor that often punctuated the gravity of his role. The life of a shogun was not merely about wielding power. It was also about navigating the complexities of family, politics, and culture with a light-hearted spirit when possible. The weight of leadership, daily challenges. The daily life of a shogun was characterized by a series of responsibilities that demanded both attention and skill. Picture him waking up in his grand chambers, the early morning light filtering through paper screens. With a cup of tea in hand, he might reflect, "Another day of rule ahead. I wonder how many samurai will trip over their swords today." This light-hearted outlook helped him cope with the serious nature of his duties. Once the day began, the shogun's agenda was packed with meetings, military strategies, and the occasional courtly affair. Imagine him surrounded by advisors, each presenting their ideas and concerns. "Ah, yes, the neighboring clan is causing trouble again," one advisor might say, seriousness etched on his face. The shogun, however, would interject with a grin. "Let's handle this like true samurai, over a delicious bowl of ramen. I hear the best negotiations happen with a full stomach." His ability to break the tension with humor not only lightened the mood, but also encouraged creativity in problem-solving. The shogun knew that sometimes laughter could be more effective than a stern command. The intrigues of politics, allies and rivals. Politics in the shogunate was a game of chess, where every move could lead to victory or disaster. The shogun had to be astute and strategic, but he also understood that charm could go a long way in securing alliances. Picture a tense meeting with rival clan leaders where the atmosphere is thick with suspicion. "Before we begin our discussions, let's agree on one thing. My sushi is better than yours," the shogun might declare, raising an eyebrow. Laughter would inevitably follow, easing the tension and reminding everyone of their common humanity. During negotiations, the shogun often employed humor as a tool of diplomacy. "Let's make a deal. If you promise to stop raiding our lands, I'll give you the secret recipe for my famous teriyaki sauce." Such playful jests would often lead to more amicable discussions, as humor has a way of softening hard hearts. Of course, the shogun also faced the reality of betrayal and dissent. Imagine him receiving news of a potential uprising. "Well, at least they're not protesting about the rice quality this time," he might say to his advisors, attempting to inject some levity into the grim news. "Let's gather our forces and remind them that rebellion is a terrible way to get a dinner invitation." Love life. The dance of affection and duty. The shogun's love life was filled with complexity, often entwined with the political fabric of the era. His marriages were typically arranged, aimed at securing alliances with powerful clans. However, genuine affection could blossom in unexpected ways. Picture him at a banquet, seated between his wives, each vying for his attention. "My dear, I present you with the finest dish," one wife announces, showcasing an elaborate meal. The other chimes in, "But can it compare to my dessert?" After all, every meal should end on a sweet note. The shogun, caught in the middle, might smile and say, "Why not have a taste test? The winner gets to plan our next festival." His playful mediation not only eased any competitive tension, but also turned the evening into a delightful occasion. In quieter moments, the shogun would often try to woo his favorite wife with romantic gestures. Imagine him bringing her flowers from the garden, only to trip on the way. "Well, if this isn't a sign that love can be a bit of a stumble," he would joke, presenting the flowers with a flourish. Such moments showcased his ability to embrace vulnerability and humor, endearing him even more to his wives. Parenting, lessons in love and laughter. As a father, the shogun had a profound influence on his children, preparing them for the responsibilities that lay ahead. His parenting style combined discipline with humor, teaching valuable lessons through laughter. Imagine him attempting to teach his son the art of swordsmanship, only to watch as the boy dramatically swings his wooden sword, missing the target entirely. Ah, my boy, if you're going to miss, at least make it look like part of the show. In the evenings, bedtime stories became a cherished tradition. The shogun would weave tales of great samurai, often adding whimsical twists to make the stories more engaging. And the mighty warrior faced the fearsome dragon, armed only with a giant rice ball. His children would burst into laughter, absorbing not just the lessons of bravery, but also the joy of storytelling. His daughters, too, would be part of his humorous lessons. Remember, my children, he would say, being a shogun is not just about power, it's about knowing when to laugh, especially when facing a dragon or a stubborn rice cooker. Culture and the arts, creativity and comedy. The shogun was also a patron of the arts, deeply appreciating poetry, theater, and music. He often hosted gatherings where artists could showcase their talents, creating an environment rich with creativity. Picture him attending a no performance, silently observing the actors as they performed. Midway through, he might lean over to a friend and whisper, "I think I've found my new favorite form of dramatic expression." Though I must admit my own performances would involve a lot more mischief. In these gatherings, the shogun sometimes took the stage himself, attempting to recite poetry. Roses are red, violets are blue, ruling a nation is tough, but I still can't cook like you. His humorous verses served to endear him to the audience, who appreciated his willingness to be self-deprecating. Festivals, celebrating unity and joy. Festivals were a significant part of the shogun's life, providing opportunities for community bonding and celebration. During these vibrant events, the shogun would often take center stage, donning his finest robes and greeting his subjects with enthusiasm. Welcome, everyone. Today, we celebrate not just our victories, but our ability to eat far too much food. Such playful comments would draw laughter from the crowd, reminding them that their leader was not just a figure of authority, but a man who enjoyed life's simple pleasures. Imagine him participating in traditional games, showcasing his skills while engaging with the community. Picture him attempting to toss a ceremonial ball during a game of kamari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling off in the wrong direction. Well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes. These moments allowed the shogun to connect with his subjects on a personal level, breaking down barriers and fostering a sense of unity. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as someone who understood the importance of joy and laughter in life. The samurai, loyalty and humor. The bond between the shogun and his samurai was pivotal to his reign. These warriors were not just soldiers, they were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's triumphs and challenges. Imagine the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, trying to inspire them with a rousing speech. Today, we fight not just for honor, but for the sushi that awaits us afterward. This blend of seriousness and humor served to motivate his warriors, reminding them that they fought not just for duty, but for the promise of a feast and celebration. The shogun's ability to inject humor into their training sessions also fostered camaraderie. Picture him leading a training drill, attempting to demonstrate the proper technique for drawing a sword. And remember, when unsheathing your sword, do it with grace. Like this, he might say, only to fumble and drop it. Ah, well, at least I didn't drop my honor. Such moments of levity allowed the samurai to connect with their leader on a personal level, reinforcing their loyalty while creating a more relaxed atmosphere for training. The burdens of leadership, humor amidst pressure. Yet, the life of a shogun was not without its challenges. The constant threat of rebellion loomed large, and the political landscape was often fraught with danger. Imagine the shogun in a war room, strategizing with his advisors. We need a plan to quell the unrest among the clans. How about we invite them all to a sushi feast? If that doesn't work, we can at least feed them well. His ability to find humor in difficult situations served as a coping mechanism, allowing him to maintain his composure amid the pressures of leadership. The shogun understood that laughter could disarm even the most hostile adversaries, creating an environment conducive to dialogue and resolution. In moments of personal reflection, he often pondered the weight of his responsibilities. Being a shogun is like balancing a rice bowl on your head while riding a horse. One misstep, and you're in trouble. He would joke with his closest advisors, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, humor could provide a moment of respite. Conclusion: a legacy of leadership and laughter. As we draw our exploration of the shogun's life to a close, it's essential to reflect on the legacy left behind by these remarkable leaders. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not just rulers, they were individuals navigating a complex world filled with challenges and joys. In summary, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day brought new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So, as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. As we delve further into the fascinating life of a Japanese shogun, we find ourselves immersed in a world that is rich in tradition, yet filled with moments of levity. The shogun's life was a complex interplay of duty, love, and politics, punctuated by humor that helped navigate the challenges of leadership. The shogun's social life, balancing authority and approachability. The shogun's social life was a blend of formal engagements and opportunities for personal connection. While he held immense power, maintaining a sense of approachability was vital for his rule. Imagine him at a grand banquet where the finest dishes are served and dignitaries from across the land gather. As he raises his cup for a toast, he might say, "To unity and prosperity, and let's hope none of you are allergic to the fish tonight." This lighthearted humor would elicit laughter from the assembled guests, easing any tension that might linger in the air. The shogun understood that laughter could be a unifying force, helping to build relationships that would otherwise be strained by the weight of politics. During these social events, the shogun often found himself in humorous predicaments. Picture him engaged in a dance with one of his wives, attempting to impress the crowd with his moves. Suddenly, his foot lands on the hem of her kimono, and he stumbles. "Well, if this isn't a new dance move, the Shogun Shuffle!" he exclaims, inviting laughter from the audience. Such moments of vulnerability only endeared him to his subjects, showcasing the humanity behind the title. The nuances of love, competing hearts. The love life of the shogun was often a mixture of political necessity and genuine affection. While many of his marriages were arranged, the shogun sometimes discovered unexpected connections with his wives. Imagine him trying to court one of his beloved wives with a small gift, a beautifully crafted hairpin. "I thought of you when I saw this. It's almost as beautiful as you," he might say, only to be met with a teasing reply, "Almost? You must be quite the diplomat." This playful banter highlighted the shogun's ability to engage with his wives on a personal level, using humor to navigate the complexities of their relationships. Each wife brought her own flair to the household, and the competition for his affection was often filled with laughter. Picture a scene where the shogun hosts a cooking competition among his wives. Today's challenge: who can make the best miso soup? The prize? My eternal gratitude and this gorgeous silk kimono, he announces. The kitchen would erupt into friendly chaos, with wives trying to outdo each other while the shogun watches, chuckling at the spectacle. Remember, ladies, the secret is in the dashi, and maybe a little less garlic. In moments of rivalry, the shogun's humor served as a soothing balm. He would often intervene with a lighthearted comment, helping to maintain harmony in the household. If we could just channel this energy into a festival, we'd have a feast for the ages. Parenting. Lessons in honor and humor. As a father, the shogun played a pivotal role in shaping the future leaders of Japan. His parenting style combined discipline with a sense of fun, instilling the values of honor and loyalty in his children. Imagine him teaching his son about swordplay, demonstrating the proper stance. "Remember, son, it's not just about strength, it's about finesse, and if you fall, make it look like a dramatic performance." In these moments, the shogun often turned serious lessons into opportunities for laughter. When his daughter struggled with her studies, he might say, "If you can't remember your lessons, just make sure to write them on a rice grain. That way, you'll always carry them with you." Bedtime stories became a special time for bonding. The shogun would weave tales of great samurai heroes, often adding his own humorous twists. And the brave warrior faced the fiercest dragon, armed only with a giant rice ball. It was a battle of snacks. His children, captivated by the absurdity, would giggle, learning valuable lessons about bravery and resilience. Cultural pursuits, the arts and their role in society. The shogun was also a passionate patron of the arts, understanding their importance in reflecting the culture and spirit of his people. He often hosted gatherings where poets, musicians, and artists could showcase their talents. Picture him attending a no play, where he tries to maintain a serious demeanor, while the actors engage in exaggerated displays. "I must say, I didn't realize drama could be so dramatic," he'd whisper to a fellow noble, stifling a laugh. During these events, the shogun sometimes took to the stage himself, attempting to recite poetry. "Roses are red, violets are blue, ruling a nation is tough, but at least I have sushi to chew." His humorous verses would elicit laughter from the audience, showcasing his willingness to engage with the arts while not taking himself too seriously. Furthermore, the shogun often encouraged the blending of humor and artistry. Imagine him hosting a poetry competition where the theme is the most ridiculous battle. "Let's see who can create the best epic tale about a samurai who fights a giant cabbage," he would declare, inviting laughter and creativity. Festivals, celebrating community and unity festivals were a vital part of the shogun's life, providing opportunities for community bonding and celebration. These occasions allowed him to step away from the responsibilities of governance and connect with his subjects in meaningful ways. Picture the vibrant colors of a festival, lanterns illuminating the night sky, with laughter echoing through the streets. The shogun, adorned in his finest robes, greets his people with enthusiasm. "Welcome, everyone. Today we celebrate our victories and our ability to eat far too much food." His playful acknowledgement of the festivities would draw laughter from the crowd, reminding them that their leader was not just a figure of authority, but a man who enjoyed life's simple pleasures. During these lively celebrations, the shogun often participated in traditional games, showcasing his skills while engaging with the community. Imagine him attempting to toss a ceremonial ball during a game of Kamari, only to miss entirely and send the ball rolling off in the wrong direction. "Well, at least I know how to keep everyone on their toes," he would exclaim, prompting laughter and applause from the villagers. These moments of joy allowed the shogun to connect with his subjects, breaking down barriers and fostering a sense of unity. They saw him not just as a ruler, but as a fellow participant in the joys of life, someone who understood the importance of laughter and celebration. The samurai, loyalty, honor, and humor. The bond between the shogun and his samurai was pivotal to his reign. These warriors were not just soldiers. They were loyal companions who shared in the shogun's triumphs and challenges. Imagine the shogun addressing his samurai before a battle, attempting to inspire them with a rousing speech. "Today, we fight not just for honor, but for the sushi that awaits us afterward." This blend of seriousness and humor served to motivate his warriors, reminding them that they fought not just for duty, but for the promise of a feast and celebration. The shogun's ability to inject humor into their training sessions fostered camaraderie as well. Picture him leading a training drill, trying to demonstrate the proper technique for drawing a sword. "And remember, when unsheathing your sword, do it with grace. Like this," he might say, only to fumble and drop it. "Ah, well, at least I didn't drop my honor." Such moments of levity allowed the samurai to connect with their leader on a personal level, reinforcing their loyalty while creating a more relaxed atmosphere for training. The burdens of leadership, finding humor amidst pressure. Yet the life of a shogun was not without its challenges. The constant threat of rebellion loomed large, and the political landscape was often fraught with danger. Imagine the shogun in a war room, strategizing with his advisors. "We need a plan to quell the unrest among the clans. How about we invite them all to a sushi feast? If that doesn't work, we can at least feed them well." His ability to find humor in difficult situations served as a coping mechanism, allowing him to maintain his composure amid the pressures of leadership. The shogun understood that laughter could disarm even the most hostile adversaries, creating an environment conducive to dialogue and resolution. In moments of personal reflection, he often pondered the weight of his responsibilities. Being a shogun is like balancing a rice bowl on your head while riding a horse. One misstep, and you're in trouble, he would joke with his closest advisors, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, humor could provide a moment of respite. Legacy, a life of duty and joy. As we conclude our exploration of the shogun's life, it's essential to reflect on the legacy left behind by these remarkable leaders. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not just rulers, they were individuals navigating a complex world filled with challenges and joys. In summary, the life of a Japanese shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day brought new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was a ruler, a father, a husband, and a man who found laughter even in the most serious of circumstances. So as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who navigated the intricate dance of leadership with wit and charm. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through history. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless and your laughter be abundant. Continuing our exploration of the life of a Japanese shogun, we delve further into the nuances of his existence, where the demands of leadership intersect with personal relationships, all seasoned with humor that lightened the burdens of power. The role of ceremony and tradition. The life of a shogun was steeped in ceremony and tradition. Every action, from the grandest banquet to the most intimate family gathering, was often shrouded in ritual. Imagine the shogun preparing for a significant ceremony, meticulously arranging his attire with the help of his attendants. Remember, if I trip over my robe today, it's considered a sign of bad luck for the empire, he might joke, eliciting laughter from those around him. In these moments, the shogun displayed a keen awareness of the weight of tradition, while also recognizing the need for humor to ease the tension surrounding such events. During a formal ritual, he might find a way to inject levity. The tea ceremony, a perfect time to reflect on life's complexities, or to simply enjoy an excellent cup of tea. Just don't ask me to recite poetry while I'm sipping. These ceremonies were essential for maintaining the shogun's image and authority, but they also provided opportunities for connection. By infusing moments of humor into the rigid structures of tradition, the shogun was able to remind everyone present of their shared humanity. The intricacies of governance. Governance was a multifaceted endeavor for the shogun, requiring him to balance the needs of his people with the demands of the samurai and the interests of rival clans. Picture him in the midst of a council meeting, listening to reports from various advisors. "And what of our neighboring clan?" one advisor might ask, concern etched on his face. The shogun, ever the diplomat, would lean back and reply, "I suggest we send them a beautifully wrapped gift. If they don't appreciate the gesture, at least we'll have a good reason for a diplomatic feast." His lighthearted approach to governance often helped ease the weight of serious discussions. By fostering an environment where laughter was welcomed, the shogun encouraged open dialogue, allowing for innovative solutions to emerge from the most pressing challenges. Love and rivalry. The shogun's love life was a delicate balancing act, often steeped in rivalry among his wives and concubines. While many of his unions were politically motivated, affection could blossom in unexpected places. Imagine the shogun hosting a garden party for his wives, where they each had the opportunity to showcase their skills in flower arrangements. "Today's competition. Who can create the most beautiful bouquet?" he might announce, excitement in his voice. As the wives set to work, the playful banter would begin. "I hear your flowers wilt faster than your cooking, dear." One wife would tease, while another retorted, "At least my flowers are not as prickly as your personality." The shogun would stand by, enjoying the lively exchange. Ladies, remember, the most fragrant blooms often come from the most unexpected places. This friendly rivalry not only fostered creativity, but also added a layer of humor to the household dynamics. The shogun's ability to navigate these relationships with a light touch helped maintain harmony in the castle, ensuring that laughter echoed through the halls, even amidst competition. The impact of humor in crisis. Despite the pressures of leadership, the shogun often found ways to infuse humor into even the most dire situations. Imagine a scenario where reports of unrest among the villagers reach his ears. Rather than responding with anger or frustration, he might gather his advisors and suggest, "Perhaps we should host a festival to celebrate our unity." After all, nothing calms the masses like a good feast. His advisors might exchange skeptical glances, but the shogun would persist. "And if that doesn't work, I'll personally challenge the leader of the discontented villagers to a rice-eating contest. Trust me, I've been training." This ability to approach crises with humor not only alleviated tension but also encouraged innovative solutions. The shogun recognized that laughter could serve as a bridge, connecting him with his subjects and fostering a sense of community, even in difficult times. The legacy of a shogun. As we wrap up our exploration of the life of a shogun, we must acknowledge the profound legacy they left behind. Each shogun, through their decisions, relationships, and moments of humor, shaped the history of Japan. They were not merely rulers. They were individuals who navigated the complexities of leadership with grace, wit, and charm. The life of a shogun was a rich tapestry woven with threads of duty, family dynamics, politics, and humor. Each day presented new challenges, yet the shogun faced them with a spirit that combined strength and levity. He was not just a ruler, but a father, a husband, and a man who found joy in the everyday moments of life. So, as you reflect on the life of a shogun, remember him not just as a figure of authority, but as a complex individual who embraced the intricacies of leadership with a sense of humor. The stories of shoguns remind us that even those in power can find ways to laugh, connect, and navigate the challenges of life with a little levity. Thank you for joining me on this captivating journey through the life of a Japanese shogun. Until next time, may your curiosity be endless, and may you always find joy in the stories of the past. As we conclude, remember that the life of a shogun was a vibrant mix of power, familial bonds, and humor. They navigated the complexities of governance with wit, reminding us that even the most serious leaders could embrace joy and laughter amid their responsibilities.